Sometimes you read so much prose, you have to turn to poetry. They're like these little portals that help us get... Motherfucker. You can take a look at this early anthology here, which is like the battleground where soldiers fought against the cannon and died becoming part of it. And this was during a time period which gave birth to the next wave of languagey poets, which is pretty well represented in this volume here. And it's interesting to see which poets bridge the two generations. There's only two of them, and you can probably figure out who one of them is if you had to take a guess. And the other is Barbara Guest, who is sort of like a godmother to Mei-mei Berssenbrugge. Sometimes it's about seeing where the mind has been without knowing what the animal is or even the landscape, and some poets achieve this by naming the ambiguity straight on, and Mei-mei does this so much though that it's like she's getting the obvious out of the way, kind of mesmerizing you with these level 1 tactics, while in the background she's been like this alien antenna that sucks in frequencies from different disciplines, which she parses and reconfigures and refines until we have the most delicate articulations that are conversely held up by an absolutely indestructible syntax, the architecture of which your mind is forced to weave through and itself gets reconfigured. Does this ever happen to y'all where you totally lose hearing in one ear? Sometimes losing a sense is a blessing though, but what happens when sense itself is what's lost? You know, when you say one thing and you mean something else, when it almost gets to the point where everything other than what the words are saying is what's carrying the meaning. Now, if we consider words as both hardware and software, we can think of Mei-mei as the ultimate cloud engineer, where you decouple the code from its container. But what if we extrapolate it back to the orchestrator level, where you have poets that are really just technicians that tune a certain type of programming? Like once we've decrypted our method with artificial intelligence, technically we could imagine this constant customized literature coming out, sort of like this concept of the dream library, except more lucidly in our waking life. And then we can start commanding the dead, whose language then could create this infinite body we can live inside forever.
Please stay. Help me pace out the field for blue corn.
I'll try again.
If a winter has seemed to pass as only our shadows on a rough wall, weren't they blank and rough as apple petals blown over and over each other to drift in heaps on the porches?
The colors of the swan are abstract. They're isolated from their object. The colors of the swan are abstract, isolated. Something over to one side that does not come back. How you look into the canyon, a relation to lit and unlit complexities of islands on the canyon floor, is the complicated question of looking and the right answer that comes back. The more complicated the question, the less light would come back until no light comes back. When we arrive at a treatise here, you know that there's been a lot processed, and in this case has to do with alien life actually suffusing our world, entering Earth through particular focal points, and those focal points are the poets, like aliens actually embodying maybe one poet at a time or multiple poets at once, and it's through these portals that the world is created, and in her mind created through or by means of communal grace. I thought I could learn to live a life without meaning, to give you the light and space that you needed, but the risk didn't pay off.